Hey everybody, I'm Jack Rita with Future Pastimes, and I'm the designer of Cosmic Odyssey, the 7th expansion for Cosmic Encounter, the campaign expansion. And among other things, one of the things that this expansion adds are moons. So moons have been around for eons. It came in the Eon edition and in the Mayfair edition, but it has been reimagined in some ways and implemented in, I think, a much better way. And we have several different types of moons, so I'll show this again. 9 different types of moons. And today we're going to be talking about moon hubs, which is a new type of moon. It's really not so much a different category moon, but what you're going to say is that the moon hubs are all themed about fostering deals. So you're going to be able to do things in deals that normally you can't do when you occupy a moon hub moon, and that will give you a unique thing that you can do whenever you're involved in a deal situation. So it encourages you to get into more deals once you occupy these. And again, there's sort of a general overview of moons. There's a link in the description to that. But what I will say is that many of the moons, you can tell the type of moon by the token. So you can tell that this is going to be a moon hub when it is in play attached to a planet. And that is true for all of the moons except for the new moons, which are the question marks. So there you're not sure what type of moon you're going to get. But I'm going to cover the 8 moon hubs that are in this expansion. And the modular nature of these different kinds of moons lets you curate the kind of game that you want. So you can say, for instance, everyone's going to have a moon hub, or we're going to deal out moon hubs to everybody, as well as another type of moon, or depending on your player count. Like if you're a 4-player game, you can say everyone's getting 2 moon hubs. So let's jump in and talk about what the different moon hub moons do. So our first moon hub moon is called Card Deal. So that's moon number 1. So as part of a deal, you and your opponent can each draw up to 2 cards from the deck. So pretty straightforward. Once you occupy the Card Deal moon, the other players know that this is an option, and they may be interested in, seeking you out to make a deal. They may, if they draw their own color, they may say, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and attack you on one of my own planets, not to get rid of you, but I'm looking for a deal situation here, because we're going to both get to draw 2 cards from the deck. So normally you can't do that in a deal situation. Our next one is called Deal Reward. So when you make a successful deal, you gain 1 reward. So that's just for the occupier of this moon, the Deal Reward moon. You're going to get a reward every time you make a deal. So again, it's nice to get into this deal. So if you're on the Deal Reward and the other player is on the Card Deal Reward, you could get 3 cards. So that's always fun. Number 3 is called the Discard Deal. So as part of a deal, you and your opponent each can discard up to 2 cards from your hand. So it's a nice hand management moon. Shed some of the cards that you don't want. Maybe you get rid of your last 2 encounter cards if it's not your turn, so that you're going to be able to draw a new hand more quickly. So that's a handy effect. Number 4 is called Renter's Fee. So this is a fun one. So after you make a successful deal, you may take a card at random from the hand of each player with a colony on this moon's planet. So that's a little extra bonus for you. Doesn't necessarily make other people want to get into a deal with you, but it does encourage you to get into a deal. Number 5 is called Domestic Dispute. So this one, if you fail to make a deal, you may send one of your opponent's ships to the warp from each planet where you both have a colony. So a lot of games, this first several turns, play offense is inviting everybody along. You get a lot of shared colonies. It's not uncommon for players to have multiple colonies that they share with somebody else. So the Domestic Dispute moon can be very powerful. Makes it less likely that once you are in a deal that you're going to get into a failed deal, especially with somebody that is sharing a lot of colonies with you. As a lot of players don't put a lot of their ships on their foreign colonies because most of the time, those ships are pretty safe. Number 6 is called Garbage Day. So this moon, as a part of a deal, you and your opponent can each discard your hands and draw new hands. So that's pretty handy. And again, it's you and your opponent. So it's both of you. I don't really think it's like, all right, I'm just going to be the one to do it. All right, well, maybe not. Yeah, you can each discard it. Why not? Let's do it. Number 7 is called Flare Up. So as part of a deal, you and your opponent can each draw a flare from the flare deck. Still says the unused flare deck. I think when we were designing it, I tried to steer away, but it had been a precedent for quite a while. It's just that every time you use the term unused flare deck, you're using that flare deck more and more. So yeah, whatever. And then finally, number 8 is called the Warp Out Moon. That is, as part of a deal, you can send up to 2 of your opponent's ships from the warp to this moon's planet. So again, it's another one. If you're attacking me, I was like, you know what? Why don't we make a deal? I'll get you a couple of your ships out of the warp. In addition to what you could do a colony exchange still. You could do card exchanges. You can do other things depending on what variants are in the game. So the new technology, techs can be traded in the deal. And remember, you can, when you make a deal for a colony exchange, you can give somebody access to an unoccupied moon in your system as part of that deal if they are establishing a colony on that planet. But in fact, it must be part of the terms of the deal. So if I give you a colony on a planet that has a moon, you don't just get to land on that moon unless it was part of the deal. So those are the moon hubs. This was a new addition. In fact, it was a last-minute addition to the design of the moons. I'd actually been holding on to the moon hubs for a concept called the expansion of the expansions, because originally the 7th expansion was just going to be Luxon moons, but it was not going to include the hub moons because I wanted the follow-up expansion to be the expansion of all the other expansions, and that would include a new type of moon, which would be the moon hubs. But Cosmic Odyssey became the expansion of the expansions, as well as the Luxon moon expansion and a campaign. So it's got everything in there. So let me know what you think of the moon hub concept, and if you like these moons. I think they're good because I love deals. So I think anything that makes deals more likely to happen or sweetens the deals, I'm all in favor of. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.